Hello again. My name is John, and I am a nobody. I managed to cut myself shaving today, so don't worry about it. We are back in Berlin. It is 1994. I quit the Officers Club. I would like to think that I could see the writing on the wall, but that's not true. I had actually received, for me, a large royalty check. I mean, it was so tiny, but everything is relative. For me, it was a big one. For Elton John, he probably wouldn't notice it. And it allowed me to continue my painting, which was great. And if you'd want, or if you wanted to check out my website, feel free to do so. It's still up, john-c-barry.de. And you can see what I was up to. I have a lot of paintings still there. Now, even though the British had left and Germany was a country still divided, the British actually hadn't left completely. They didn't leave till a few months later, but they had this big parade, which I painted because I was there, and it was amazing. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit about it, in case you're interested. You know, the Allies, the French, Brits, and Americans, they had nearly 2,000 troops there at the parade. And the British had a band, as you can see. And I'm sure that everybody who took part in that parade still remembers it fondly. There were thousands of Germans there waving goodbye to the Allies. And it was quite extraordinary. Maybe a lot of people have forgotten it already, but I haven't. And I'd like to remind you all about it. So I was standing there in the crowd, awaiting the Allied troops to arrive. And I was standing next to a German family, a slightly overweight German woman, a husband, and little boy. As the French appeared, they were led by the pioneers who carry these big axes and they have beards. So the little boy asked his mum, who are those people with the axes? And she didn't know. So I patiently explained to him what they were. All she could say was, the French, they have no idea about anything. They're just, so arrogant. And then the French passed. I was taking lots of photographs. And the next contingent was the British, who were led by this big band. And her comment to the British was, they're so arrogant, the British. They have no idea, blah, blah, blah. I was explaining to her son, which units were which, and, anything he wanted to ask me, I was trying my best to describe and explain to him. And the British had bayonets. The Americans didn't have bayonets, so they discontinued them, I think, at the time. The last American bayonet charge was in the Korean War. And if you're interested in the Korean War, well, I did a little thing on it on this channel, so you can check that out, because I did actually get to meet an American who'd been in the Korean War. Anyway, so the Americans turned up. The British have three different uniforms. They have the camouflage uniform, the full dress uniform, which is the red, and then they have what they call a number 2 uniform, which is just very smart, but it's not the red one. So the British were wearing their number 2 uniform, and they had their fixed bayonets. And it was the first time I'd ever seen women officers, which was a wonderful, very impressive sight to see. Women with drawn swords, wearing skirts, midi length skirts, And I was impressed. The Americans turned up, and the German lady to my right said to her whole family, yeah, the Americans, they don't have any culture, you know. And this was while she was drinking, and I'm telling you the truth. This is while she was drinking a Pepsi Cola and munching on a hamburger. And this is what she said, the Americans, they don't have any culture. And it was an eye-opener, a real eye-opener. This is the great thing about telling stories that are true. You don't have to make things up. You don't have to embellish the stories. You just tell the story as it is, or as you remember it, and that's enough. This woman, she was so strange. The troops marched past. It was something else to see, you know, the thousands of troops and the thousands of spectators who were all very thankful that the Allies had been there to protect Berlin. The idea was not that they protect Berlin forever. They were supposed to protect it for 48 hours until the diplomats could come up with some kind of solution. That was their job, just hold Berlin for 48 hours. But it's something I will never forget. And I was there, and I wanted to remind you of this momentous occasion, because it was extraordinary. And thank you very much once again for watching. Feel free to give this a thumbs up if you want, or a thumbs down. And take care of yourself and all you love. And as always, Tschüssikowski. See you in the next one. Bye then.